Today we're going to be talking about all the best action-adventure games across all the platforms that you can play as of right now in virtual reality. And I just want to say a massive thank you to all you guys and girls who voted for this to be the next video that's going to be coming out on the channel. Of course, I really value your input, and if you want, there's going to be another poll up on the channel right now, so you can go and actively vote for what is going to be next. Too many next. Of course though, if you do enjoy this, smash that like button, subscribe and all that good stuff to help support this video. And now let's dive into the very first game on the list. Coming up first, we have Metro Awakening. Now honestly, I couldn't put this list together without including this, as it was probably one of the more influential games that came out towards the end of 2024, and it's just been an absolutely freaking banger to be able to get into and of course just truly experience that Metro universe, but inside of virtual reality. This is one of those ones that feels like it was really crafted with some actual love for the franchise, not just tacked on friggin' oh, we got the IP and we're kind of making a game about it. This one has that full genuine feel of that Metro universe all inside of it, which is a dope story and a pretty lengthy campaign as well to keep you sort of locked in and enjoying the entire thing. This one is an absolutely easy recommend from me. Next up, we have pretty much one of the stars of 2025 in my opinion, and that is Arcane Age. This game has really hit hard when it comes to just a lot of people talking about it, a lot of people playing it, and it just doing freaking well, and there's a good reason for that, and that's because this is an actual solid game. If you're looking for something that is a beautiful world that's going to feel very open world-ish, and you're going to be able to get around there exploring, hunting for things, fighting for survival, and making cool weaponry, well, this game's kind of got all of that and more. I highly recommend you pick this one up, as it's one of the probably, like I say, best games that's come out this year. Next up, it's a pleasure to be able to put this on the list, and that is Hitman World of Assassination. For the PSVR 2 and PCVR in particular, I'm not talking about the Quest port, that is absolute trash. But if you own a PSVR 2 or a PCVR, then this is definitely a recommend from me. Recently this year, we actually got the full upgrade, making Hitman finally a true VR game where you can control both your hands, which is just lovely. You can also do actions with both your hands, and really they've just kind of ironed out all the creases that made it a bad VR game initially, and now it feels like it's a fully fledged VR game in all the best ways possible. Of course, being able to embody Agent 47 in this way is just a freaking awesome thing to be able to do, especially when there is just so much content inside of World of Assassination. So this one is an easy recommend for me right now. Next, I couldn't make a list without including these two games because they are simply some of my favourite games I've ever experienced inside of VR, and that is Lone Echo 1 and 2. Now this is definitely a twofer, and there's quite a few on this list that cover that sort of thing as well, but this one is just the most gorgeous storytelling, making you feel like you've actually just been plopped into a movie and you get to embody a character and experience the entire thing in first person. It's just so freaking gorgeous. In this, you're going to be playing with a space lady and you are going to be playing as a robot, Jack, and this sort of relationship that you're going to grow throughout this entire thing is just so incredible. It's genuinely one of the most immersive stories you get to experience in your life. It's just so freakingly perfectly executed. I don't want to talk too much about story, I don't want to ruin a single bit of it. If you haven't experienced this before, get this in your life. It is PCVR only, but I really recommend that you try this. Next up, we have Wanderer Fragments of Fates. Now this one for me, it had a little bit of a shaky launch, but they've definitely ironed out everything now, and this is just, again, now at this point, pretty easy to recommend. This is time traveling, puzzle solving with a bit of action and adventure, of course, tied into the mix as well. This one's just super fun. I love the fact that when you're kind of getting bored of an area, you're going to be time traveling to a different place, mixing up all the time and revisiting those areas throughout the game to keep it fresh and interesting throughout the entire experience. Super solid game, highly recommend for any platform as well. This one is actually pretty stunning on. Next we have Asgard's Wrath 1 and 2. Now I think I can more easily recommend the second game because it's Quest, it's a lot more accessible to a lot more people, and genuinely probably a better formatted game altogether. But if you want to go for just looks alone, well then the first game is absolutely stunning. It's one of those sort of 2016 games that everyone talks about when they're like, this is the peak of VR. Well, this is a very good shining example of that. But regardless of whether you pick up 1 or 2, you don't need to have played either games to be able to enjoy them, to just know that going into it. They're both absolutely stunning games. They're both awesome combat games, and they have a ton of variety in them just to keep you locked in. In fact, Asgard's Wrath 2 has probably one of the biggest campaigns that you'll actually be able to play in VR as of right now. It's legitimately like 180 hours, I think, to be able to go through it. Next up we have Batman Arkham Shadow. My god, I love this game personally. There's definitely some weak points in this game that we could highlight, like the combat can feel a little bit repetitive, the storyline gets a little drawn out in places, but overall just getting to embody Batman in a fully fledged VR game, and not just that, but a fully fledged VR game in the Arkham universe. Oh my god, yeah, this is just absolutely freaking awesome. All the ways that you'd expect it to be. The combat feels pretty damn good, like I said, it does get a little repetitive in places. Using the bat gadgets feels awesome, and not just that, this is one of those shining examples of how far the Quest 3 can actually be pushed visually to make it just shine in every way it should. Next up we have Behemoth. Now this is such a huge game that sadly doesn't really get the love it actually deserves. In this one you're going to be fighting giant titans, and I mean giant titans. These are like the size of friggin' skyscrapers. You're going to be flying on the back of giant bats. All sorts of insane crap is going to happen in this game that's going to blow your mind, on top of some awesome combat and being able to grapple around, which just all tied together feels amazing, and a pretty damn solid story and campaign that you can actually get through. It's not too astronomically long, so it just feels just long enough to be able to get in there. For some reason this one just never really truly landed when it came out, but this is just such an easy one for me to recommend. It's a great game inside of a cool universe with giant titans to fight. I mean, what more can you ask for? Next up we have a triple recommend. That's right, I'm talking about Resident Evil. Now with Resident Evil we have 3 different ports I want to be talking about. The first one is Resident Evil 4 for the Quest. Now of course this is the lowest graphical one out of the ones I'm going to be recommending, but nonetheless if you have a Quest and this is your only mode of playing a Resident Evil game in VR, this is still an absolute top-notch experience. Now of course graphically it still looks like a Quest 2 game. Unfortunately they've never brought out a Quest 3 patch, which I think would have been phenomenal for this, but nonetheless it's just an incredible experience. Moving on from that we have Resident Evil 4 Remake for the PSVR 2, and this is fully jazzed up. I'm talking AAA, gorgeous graphics, the best you're pretty much going to experience for a Resident Evil game inside of virtual reality on the PSVR 2. Absolutely gorgeous game, and it just takes it up to that next notch. If you can play this on a PlayStation, then swerve obviously the Quest version and go fully for this, because oh my god, it's stunning inside of the headset. And finally we have Resident Evil Village, that's also available for the PSVR 2. That's why this one's a trio, because really all 3 of these games need to be on this list. I already struggled enough squeezing things down to be able to be the list size that it is, but this, it just, yeah, definitely needs to be on there as well. Next we have Red Matter 1 and 2. Now 2 in particular is absolutely insanely stunning for the Quest. This is one of those showpieces that you can put someone inside of just to be like, yeah, this is what the Quest 3 is actually capable of, and only a few games have delivered on this so far, but nonetheless this is an amazing story of both just storytelling, puzzle solving, and of course having that whole adventure side to it as well, where you're trying to work out all the different parts to the story that's going on around you. I don't want to ruin too much, again, as one of those games that anything I say about it's going to kind of wreck certain parts, but just know that both of these games are absolutely solid. Red Matter 2 is the one I'd most recommend that you pick up because it's just absolutely stunning, but the first game still really does hold up. Next we have Horizon Call of the Mountain, and this is another one of those AAA experiences that's just handed to you on a platter. This is one that tends to get bundled with the PSVR 2, and if not, then I definitely recommend that you pick it up. It's really, really stunning. The only downside to this game that I could possibly highlight is the fact that it is sort of reprojected, which I really wish they would patch and fix now that we don't need to have that be a problem on the PSVR 2. But regardless, this is actually going to put you into the boots, into the world of Horizon. You get to meet Aloy along the way as well, which is pretty dope, and of course fight some of those giant titan creatures, from the small little robots that you're going to be busting around with to some incredibly huge things. This is just a phenomenal experience. I loved this from absolute start to finish. I'm a huge fan of the Horizon games, so being able to actually get into the shoes of a character in this universe just felt absolutely amazing. Next we have Arizona Sunshine 1 and 2. Both of these recently had a full-on graphical upgrade, so regardless of whether you're playing this on Quest, PCVR or PSVR 2, they all look friggin' phenomenal now. They've been pushed right up to the spec count that you can expect from any of those headsets. Props to them, because honestly the first game is a bloody old game at this point, but they still put the time and effort into upgrading this entirely so that it fell in line with the second game. So now I can easily recommend either of these games. If you're looking for a zombie action shooter, well, yeah, do it. Next we have Into the Radius both 1 and 2. Now I almost didn't put these on this list because they just fall shy of being an action adventure in my opinion, because their story isn't really as strong as anything else on this list, but they are just such incredible games I had to put them on here. I mean, this list was only supposed to be 10 games to start with, and we're at 16, so you know, quite a few games over what I was expecting. But regardless, Into the Radius 2 is basically like Stalker but in VR. You're going to be dropped into this sort of weird ass universe where there aren't many survivors knocking around, as in you probably won't come across any. All you're going to be coming across is these dread anomalies, from spider anomalies to these weird shadow creatures. You're going to have to collect weaponry, maintain weaponry by cleaning it, polishing it, and bringing it back to life, because you will get gun jams and some other terrible things happen to you while you're out in the field if you don't look after your gear. So this one is entirely about that maintenance. I fell in love with this game a million times. I've played through both of them several times at this point, and I absolutely just love the series. Next up we have The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 1 and 2. Both of these games are such easy recommends. They make a ton of different lists, and the reason is that these are just solid games. They are really well story-driven games which you feel like you're making an impact on the world around you, and your choices will make a difference throughout your experience. Not just that, but you get to explore a ton of different places which give you that feeling of open world, even though they're not that massive of maps, but still they feel quite open and they feel very exploratory because you have many different paths that you can go down to get to the same sort of areas. All in all, this is just one of those most top-notch zombie experiences you could possibly have, dropping you inside of the world of The Walking Dead without having to be reliant on any character from the TV show, which makes this feel just independent, fresh, and honestly pretty timeless at this point as well. Next we have Assassin's Creed VR. I really like this game personally. I know this is definitely one of those sort of love it or hate it type games, but still nonetheless Assassin's Creed Nexus needs to make this list because it is an incredible game that really fits the genre we're talking about here. Now this is awesome because of many reasons: being able to use your hidden blades, being able to take down a bunch of people, exploring areas that you've only ever sort of dreamt about exploring up until now because you've only played this in flat. Not just that, but you get to explore this with 4 of the main characters throughout the series, like Ezio and a bunch of others. Now of course it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Some of the combat does feel a little bit sort of like stinted, and they definitely built this to be aimed towards a newer player base inside of VR rather than sort of veterans, which is totally fine. I'm okay with that. But once you kind of get past those few things, the rest of this game just feels like a joy to play. It runs phenomenally well on the Quest. It's a real shame that this isn't going to get ported to any other headsets, because I'd love to see this in its full graphical glory. And last but not least, you just simply could not make this list without including Half-Life Alyx. I'm pretty sure most of you have been like, when is he gonna add this? Because I'm expecting this to be on the list. Don't worry, I got you, bro. It's just that everyone in the world has heard about this game at this point, but it would be rude of me to not include it on the list nonetheless. Of course, Half-Life Alyx is the god tier of VR gaming. This is the one that everyone wishes every other game could live up to its standard, even though I think we have got pretty close with a few games at this point. Regardless, Half-Life Alyx is putting you into the Half-Life universe. I mean, hopefully we get more of this in the future. I really hope that if we do ever get that Deckard headset, then we also get a new Half-Life game. That would be sick. But regardless, this is an easy recommend from me. It's Half-Life Alyx. I don't need to say much more. I think we all know what it is by this point. And there you have it, guys. That is a massive list of awesome games. Hopefully there's something on there that sort of like tickled your fancy and you're going to go and pick up and play after this video. Honestly, I was supposed to be doing 10 games. The list just kept growing and growing and growing. We've had a pretty good year for some awesome games I've added to this list, as well as some awesome stuff that we've had, you know, around for a long time now. I know I'm probably going to get some comment like, oh, what year is this, bro? But some of these are timeless classics that a lot of new people coming into VR have never experienced and may not even know that exist if they're not sort of watching a ton of these types of videos. So other than that, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please do consider smashing that like button, subscribing and all that good stuff, and I will catch you in the next video. Let me know in the comments down below if you think I missed any games. I'm sure I have, but recommend those to other people and let them know about some other good gaming. Peace out, take care, bye.